this Peranakan culture is slowly being, it's like fading away.
Yeah.
Because a lot of Singaporeans do not know that there's such a culture in Singapore. We noticed that there has been a lot of Singaporeans that when they left Singapore and when they came back to Singapore, they found out that being a Chinese, when you leave Singapore and you meet other Chinese in other parts of the world, you notice that we ourselves are very, very different in terms of our lifestyle and culture. Because we've been staying here for so many generations, like our ancestors, that we start to incorporate local cultures and lifestyles into our lifestyle. And that's how Peranakan culture is very unique in the sense that if you compare with other Chinese that have been staying in other parts of the world, you notice that when they are outside China, they don't tend to incorporate or assimilate with the local people. For example, if you've been to the States, the Chinatown or Australia, you notice that they try to remain Chinese. Whereas in the earlier days, the Peranakan Chinese, they were like a big melting pot. Anything that is good in other people's culture, they just adapt it into their lifestyle. And that's why you notice that in Peranakan culture, there may be like European influence, there may be Malay or even Indian or Eurasian influence, but still you see us as Chinese, even though we have all these things inside. And it is a very unique culture born in Southeast Asia. And that's why we try to promote it as among the young people. And if the young people are able to appreciate these cultural things, then cultural businesses like ours would be able to sustain. Yeah. And the fun part is people may think that Peranakan culture is only for the Peranakan people exclusively, which is not exactly true. Because what happens is everything we know about Peranakan culture, surprisingly, part or parcel of it will be in other people's lifestyle and culture. So for example, like kuih lapis, kuih salad, all the Nyonya kuih we know of are Peranakan kuihs. And typical Chinese New Year biscuits, which nowadays every Chinese family must have, like pineapple tarts, kuih bangkit, love lettuce, these are all Peranakan biscuits. Yeah. And people may not know that even like nasi lemak, mee siam, and laksa, these are all Peranakan food that a lot of Chinese families also enjoy eating, and they learn how to cook it. Even ayam kari merah, which may not be so commonly heard in our Peranakan outside the Peranakan culture, but if it's heard, it's often known as Hainan curry. Why is that so? That's because in the early days, most of the Peranakan people who are rich ladies, they tend to employ chompos who are Hainanese people. They'll teach them how to cook Peranakan food so that they can cook for the family. So what happens is, you notice, even the Hainanese start to cook Peranakan food, but they call it Hainan curry. I'm not too sure why. Because they are Hainanese, they are cooking it, and that's why they're saying it's Hainan curry. So you notice that a lot of our Peranakan culture has already been assimilated to our local people. You notice that the language you speak has a lot of slangs and stuff like that, and even the local people start to adapt it in their own language also. For example, if I were to go to Taiwan and I say that I'm of a Hokkien descent, I'm a Hokkien, and if I try to speak Hokkien to the local Taiwanese people, they don't even understand what I'm speaking. For example, like I say that gua suka jian then they say, what do you mean by suka? Because in Hokkien words there's no such thing as suka, but in our Malay language we know that it means I like.
Okay.
Yeah. Then for example, if you say okay, lu sabun bo, what is the Taiwanese don't even know what is sabun. Because sabun is actually soap in our local language, but in Hokkien there's no such thing as sabun. You know what I mean? It's actually a Malay word. And if you say, and in Hokkien, in Taiwan they call it 夜市, but for us we call it pasar. Pasar is actually a Malay word. In Chinese textbooks you may see they write 巴士的 ba and 杀鸡的 sa as pasar, but actually it's direct translation from the Malay word to a Chinese word. So you can see that these are all the nitty-gritties that a lot of people didn't notice. And if you look carefully at a lot of the Peranakan Chinese history, for example, like the batik history, you notice that a lot of Chinese people were here in Southeast Asia making batiks, and those people back then were known as Chinese merchants. Those are the earliest group of Peranakan Chinese, and they were making batiks that has Chinese motifs like chrysanthemums, magpies, magnolia flowers, chrysanthemum flowers and stuff like that, which are Chinese motifs. So you can start to see that we are actually trying to combine the best art of Malay batik with our Chinese motifs. And you can start to see that these are actually very unique cultures clash and bond in Southeast Asia. And why shouldn't we be promoting it? Because it gives us a special identity. So we should promote it. And businesses like us, we would have a better survival in the sense that if the young people appreciate it, the culture will survive. So far so good. Food culture is the only thing that survives really, really very well because somehow Singaporeans like to eat. Yeah, but for lifestyle culture, the brand, the clothes and stuff like that, we are still trying our best to salvage it and promote it as further.